So we are going to be recording this event, as I mentioned earlier. So thank you all for joining us on your lunch hour or early morning for us, for you Pacific Coasters. My name is Alyssa. I'll get a little bit more into my background here coming up, but we so appreciate, oh my gosh. See, I need another pumpkin spice latte like we were talking about earlier, I think this morning, but we really appreciate you guys joining us here this afternoon. We're going to get into a lot of details about Flatiron School. We did turn on closed captioning for our students that need a little bit more accessibility. We really believe in that and believe in reaching out to everybody and making sure that all this information is accessible. So that is turned on. Again, it's going to be recorded. We do post these on our YouTube page about 3 days out after the event, as well as we will send it to you. So if there's anything that you guys want to reference later on, that will be available to you. So we will go ahead and get started. I know you guys can see the slew of people that are joining me today as well. So I'm going to introduce them as we get to certain points in the presentation. So you'll get to meet our gang. We have a really good crew with us. As you guys have seen, the chat feature is open for students. Just make sure you switch it from host and panelist to everyone so that we can all chat together. I want to make sure that we can also answer questions. So as you see them, as they raise in your mind, please put those in the chat, and any of our team will be able to answer those, or we'll save most of them for the end because we have some other special guests that are joining us that I think would be great people to ask questions for, which we'll get into. So a little overview of kind of what we're going to do. Obviously, we did our welcome already. We're going to go over who Flatiron School is, a little bit of program details, all the different courses that we offer, the ways that you can learn with us, the support that you're going to get. We also have some people from our career service team, so they'll talk a little bit about that aspect of our program. If you guys are interested in moving forward, we'll go over the admissions process, tuition, financing, and then hopefully we'll leave plenty of time at the end for any Q&A so that you guys get all of your questions answered. So as I mentioned, my name is Alyssa. I am based out of Tampa, Florida. My background for most of my career so far has been event management and planning. But more recently, I was in more traditional education. So it's really fun for me to be able to get to work with you all here in a boot camp space, a non-traditional education space, because I am really passionate about not only adult learners, but non-traditional education, because I think it is kind of the way of the future. So definitely can chat a little bit more about that with you guys. I have my master's in human resource management, so have been through all of the traditional sides of education, but also work obviously in this space. I'm a DIYer, a golfer, a dog mom. My dog Carl is usually snoring right under my desk here. Love that work from home life, but a little bit about me and kind of my background, but let's just jump right in. So a little bit about Flatiron School. We were founded back in 2012. So been over a decade that we've been in this space. So we've really perfected this model of, like I said, non-traditional education and providing students with the necessary skills to go out and get a job after the program is completed. We do have several campuses, well, several, I mean two. We have our New York City campus, and we actually have our New York City campus manager joining us. Say hey, Chelsea. Awesome. And then we also have a campus in Denver, which we have Yesenia, who manages our Denver campus. Say hey, Yesenia. Yes, awesome.
Hey, y'all.
If you guys are not located near one of our campuses, we do also have online options. So I'll talk a little bit about the different modes that you can take our program, but we do have some campuses that are open to all of our students. Even if you're online and close to a campus, you can stop in and use it as kind of a co-working space. And you guys can ask questions of Chelsea and Yesenia if you have more about that later on. We do have several different programs, not just one, but software engineering, data science, cybersecurity, and product design are all the different programs that we offer. So I'll get a little bit more into detail here in a couple minutes about that. But really kind of why we exist is our graduates. We do have a proven job search framework that we get several of our grads jobs after graduating, for lack of a better word. But we have two of our grads joining us. We have Aiden Ward and Andrew Zimmer. Say hey, guys. Awesome. Hi, guys. So if you guys have specific questions about maybe things related to alumni questions, definitely drop those in the chat so that we can answer those. Aiden and Andrew will give you guys a little bit of an overview of their experience once we get to that kind of the end of the presentation. So look forward to that. But all of our programs, as I mentioned, do take a holistic approach to learning. Really, we want to teach you the fundamentals of problem solving and make sure that we're integrating the latest technologies. All of our programs have now been revamped to have an element of AI, as that is, you know, a big buzzword today, which is great, but we really do try to keep our curriculum up to date so that you guys are all learning the latest techniques, the latest technology, the latest and greatest within the field that you're getting into. So a little bit more about those fields that you can join. Oops, I went too far. So our first program is software engineering. So our program here at Flatiron School is a full stack program, and really it's built to teach you how to build products such as websites, applications, mobile apps, anything kind of for the end user. So because it is what's called a full stack program, we teach both front end development, which the languages you're going to use are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then you'll learn backend, which is Python, and we use the framework Flask. So you'll learn both sides of the coin. You can really specialize in one or the other, or be a jack of all trades and do full stack development. So that's really nice that we kind of teach both of those areas. And I believe Aiden and Andrew both are software engineering alums, so they can talk a little bit more about that program once we get towards the end of the presentation. As you guys saw on the last slide, as well as this side, there is some different job titles there, but this is kind of an overview of the fundamentals that you're going to be learning within the course. All of our programs do have projects, each module that culminate into a portfolio, as well as you'll have a capstone project. And those projects and labs and hands-on experiences, those are really what's going to serve as your applicable job experience once you get out into the workforce. So not only are we teaching you the technical skills, but we're helping you to build that portfolio so that you can go to an employer and say, hey, I know what I'm doing. Here's my portfolio. Here's what I've already done. Hire me, all that good stuff. So that's a little brief overview of software engineering. We also have data science. So data science, sorry, I keep moving you guys. I have you, all of my people right above where my slide is going to be. So I'm gonna move you guys out of the way. Data science is really uncovering patterns in data. So if you love math, if you love doing research, things like that, data science is a great program for you. So not only do you manipulate data, clean, scrape, organize it in a way that makes sense, but you create this data visualization. So how can you tell a story with data to help businesses make their decisions? So a little bit more about, again, fundamentals and things that you're going to be learning in the course over on the left. So there is some coding within data science. You're going to learn Python, but it is pretty heavy on like statistics and upper level math. So it is good if you have exposure to some of those types of things. Again, you're building different projects as you go throughout the course, and you will culminate into that capstone project. We have different job titles here. You can be a data analyst, business analyst, AI engineer, data scientist. It really is heavy on more of the science side than just data analytics. So it does go into a bit more in-depth learning, also machine learning and AI. So if you're really interested in that subject, it's a really, really great space to get into with all that chat GPT and all the AI bots that are happening right now. We also have cybersecurity. So cybersecurity protects information from unauthorized access or prohibited use. this is a field that is going to continue to be around for a long, long time. And there's so much need for this, these skills in the market. So we teach data analytics, also data engineering, which is building and maintaining systems. So it's not just like how to analyze threat, but also how to build systems to protect companies' data, networks, devices, things like that. And also there's an element of creating policy between that. So those kind of phishing, maybe this is not a great example, but like some of those phishing trainings that you go through where you click and say, is this phishing or not? That's something that our cybersecurity students learn how to build and do. So really, really great need for this in the market. There's some job titles there. And like I said, just kind of the foundational courses that you guys will go through: networks, systems, threat intelligence, again, a little bit of coding that you're going to do within the course with Python, but a really, really good diverse survey course to get you into cybersecurity. We also offer product design. So this is more, I would say it's kind of like the architecture piece of software engineering. So how does it visually look? Just like architects build, you know, the visual side of a building, you have product designers that build the visuals that then give the blueprints to the engineers to be able to go and build it and make it function. So we teach both sides of product design. There's the UX side, which is the user experience. Like, is it accessible? Does it make sense? If I click this menu, does that pop up another menu? Like, what's the kind of research and design behind that? What's the theory behind why that is? And then we also have the UI side, which is the user interface side. So the prettier side of you know, an app or a website that you're using. So a lot of different great avenues that you can go through with product design. Again, some different foundational courses that you guys can understand ethical design, right? Like I said, is it accessible for everybody? You do a lot of user research, a lot of data analysis too, that still goes into product design, because you're doing a lot of surveys of like, how usable is this? And you send that out to your customers. So hopefully you can get some insights to improve it. I mean, how many of us have been on a website or an app and you're like, man, this is really hard to navigate? Like me, for sure. So that's what the UX or UI product designers do, is to help improve stuff like that. So there's some other job titles as well. So you guys can take a look at this. This slide deck will also be sent out with the email with the recording. So if you guys want to go back and refer to it, you can. So I know I'm going through everything really quickly, but I do want to make sure we get enough time at the end for some Q&A. So if you decide, oh my gosh, one of those programs is totally for me, I think I want to apply to Flatiron School, we do have some different ways that you can learn with us. We do have a full-time program. It's the quickest program, in and out in 15 weeks, but it is a Monday through Friday commitment. For that, 9 hours a day. You do get a lunch break. So, you know, you're not going straight 9 hours of just lecture, which would be pretty intense. It is intense, but not quite that intense. So it is best for students that can take a break from work or do have some gap, maybe in school or different things like that, so that they can really dedicate full-time hours to this. You're spending about 40 hours in the classroom and then about 10 to 20 hours outside of that doing homework and projects and different things like that. It is available in person at our Denver campus. There are some different options, as well as our New York campus. It does vary by program, so make sure if you do apply for the program, you check with your admissions representative to make sure one of those options is available in person. They are also listed on our website as well, so you guys can take a look at that. We also have an online option. So if you're not located, like I said, near one of our campuses, you can join us online via Zoom, and you'll be in Zoom for those specific hours, that Monday through Friday commitment. Usually it's like about 9 to 6 every single day, 9 in the morning till 6 in the evening. So not necessarily the best option for everybody. We do know a lot of our students do work, so we do provide a more flexible option for our students that's self-paced. It allows you to log onto your computer whenever you want to, whenever you have the time, whether that's before, after work, when the kids are napping, all that good stuff. You can log on and work through the lessons one by one. Usually students that do our flexible program finish in about 40 weeks, but that would mean you're dedicating about 20 to 25 hours per week on the course. There is still lots of support for our flexible students. You'll be able to meet one-on-one with your instructors. You'll be able to schedule time with them. They also have some open office hours, so if you want to log into that, you can. Also some guided practices and different live events that you can interact with other students as well. We also have pair with a technical coach, which I'll talk a little bit about later on in the presentation. But you can log in and there's a chat feature that you can click on and get your questions answered. We also integrated an AI bot that's available 24/7. So those are specifically designed for all of our Flatiron School programs and the questions that most of our students ask, so that if you get stuck or need help, you're not just stuck for days. So really great options, both the full-time and the flexible learning. It goes over all the same curriculum, just 2 different modes to take the course. I do want to introduce 2. So those are the modes of the program, but we do offer career coaching for our students as well. So after you finish the program, there is lots of support. I know that's a huge question for a lot of our students. You know, if I do this, will I get a job afterwards? So I'm going to introduce Lindsay Williams. She's one of our career coaches here at Flatiron School and actually also taking the course as an employee. So I would love to kick it off to Lindsay.
Thank you, Alyssa. Hey everyone, Lindsay Williams here. I'm in our career services team, and as Alyssa was saying, we provide our students with a number of resources to help you kick off your job search and feel prepared for finding opportunities, for talking with employers, being prepared in interviews. We want to make sure that you are as prepared as possible going into those scenarios so that you can succeed. And so what you're looking at on the screen is what the program looks like after you graduate. So most of your focus in the program is going to be on skill building, which is where your focus should be, is really learning as many technical skills as possible. We do also provide from Career Services a series of workshops to help you start to skill build along your job search so that you can do a little bit of that while you're also skill building. And then once you graduate, as you can see here on the screen, we lead you through a series of meetings right in the first 4 to 5 weeks so that you start on a solid footing. You meet with your dedicated career coach. This is someone that you're going to meet with one-on-one, weekly or bi-weekly. They're going to help you craft a job search strategy, talk a lot about networking and how to build your network. If you don't have one yet, how to go about doing that, how to leverage the network that you may be building or that you already have. Then they then work with you on polishing what we call your branding material. So these are things like your resume, of course, but also things like your LinkedIn profile, your portfolio, if that applies for your discipline. So we help you polish up those materials so you can feel really good about presenting them to the world. And then, of course, we work with you on preparing for interviews. So not only do we help you with what's called an HR or behavioral type of interview, but we also work with a third party called Skilled that allows you to have a technical mock interview. So you get a chance to kind of see what it's like to dive into a technical interview in a safe space, have that practice so you feel like you have one at bat before you get the first one from a real employer. We also provide some really great tools from our employer partnerships team. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to a member from that team, Beanie Brady.
Hi, thanks, Lindsay. Hi, everybody. My name is Beanie Brady. I am on our employer partnerships team, or as we call it, our EP team. Prior to being on EP, I was a career coach for 3 years. So doing one-on-one career coaching, working with Lindsay. And I'm excited to be in this new role, I've been here for a year now, where I advocate for our grads at scale. So our EP team operates a little more behind the scenes, like you'll see your career coach on a regular basis. But we're a little bit more behind the scenes where we actively build relationships with hiring partners And we also share invites with hiring partners to our employer portal, where all grads have a profile so that job seeking grads are accessible to employers. So you'll learn more about the Hunter portal as you're in the program, and your coach is your point of contact to help you build a robust Hunter profile that is visible to employers.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Beanie. I'm going to go back. I think I might have missed a slide here. I think I did. Oh my gosh. That's where I was like thrown off a little bit. So as we mentioned, thank you, Lindsay and Beanie, for sharing a little bit more about career coaching. Big part of our program is obviously not only teaching you guys the technical skills, but also the career service aspect. So we really want to make sure that our students feel super supported. We have a 360-degree support system built for you guys starting at day one. When you apply for the program, you'll meet with our admissions team. You'll work with a dedicated onboarding rep that'll make sure you have all your paperwork in, that your financing's all good to go. Basically everything that you need to know before day one of class. And then we'll pass you off to our curriculum and our student success team. You'll meet with a student advisor that'll be kind of a non-technical point of contact for you to make sure that you're progressing well in the program, both in the flex and the full-time. We have technical coaches and that 24-hour support that I mentioned. So if you guys get stuck or need help in both programs, there is some support for you guys outside of class hours. For most of our programs, the full-time, we do have live instruction, as well as our flex program. Those guided practices and office hours allow you to kind of interact live with an instructor. It's not lectures per se, but it is some live instruction that you'll participate in. And then obviously our career coaches and our employer partnerships. So we learned a little bit about that. So I am going to go back a little bit. Sorry guys, skipping this slide. But we have some really, really great outcomes for our students that participate in our program. This is an overview. This is a majority of our programs. We do have a full jobs report on our website, as well as linked below. And maybe Corey or someone can drop that in the chat, or we'll make sure to get that dropped in the chat. So if you guys want to dive a little bit more into discipline specific outcomes, we have a 40-page report. It's literally full of all kinds of information about our grads from 2022. So if you guys want to take a look at that, I definitely encourage you to. 90% of our job seeking grads, so it's people that decide, yep, I want to move forward and I want to look for a job after the program, they are able to get a job within the reporting period. So you guys can read a little bit more about what that reporting period is and all that good stuff on our jobs report. And on average, our job seeking grads that have disclosed their compensation to us have an average starting salary about $74,000. So really, really good outcomes for our grads. It does vary based on discipline. So make sure you go into that jobs report and see the different disciplines, and salary ranges will also vary, as well as location, depending on where you're located, those will vary as well. But this is kind of a broad stroke overview, but we're really proud of our outcomes. And, if you put in the work, you're going to get great outcomes come the end, not only technically, but also in your job search. And I'm sure Lindsay and Beanie will kind of echo that as well. But here are kind of a list of some of our big names that we have placed students in jobs for. This isn't obviously just all of our companies that we've worked with or students have gotten jobs in, but if you guys are interested, definitely check out our Flatiron School LinkedIn page. There's a whole alumni section there. You guys can click on it and search your discipline that you're specifically interested in and see where else students got jobs. I mean, these are great companies to work for and obviously really big names, but there's a lot of really good littler companies out there too that need lots of support and technical skilled employees. So definitely check that out. If you guys are like, oh my gosh, this sounds great, I want to apply, I think I want to do this, I want to either take time off of work and do the full-time program, or I think I want to kind of upskill as I'm, working and going through life, all those things, you'll work with our admissions team. So there is a written application that you guys are going to submit. We also have a 15-minute assessment. It is a non-technical assessment, so it's going to be more critical thinking, problem solving. They'll feel a lot like the SATs. I like to tell students. I know for me, that's been a real long time since I've done something like that, but you do have 2 attempts to pass that. Just do your best. You'll be able to connect with your admissions representative after you take the test. So you can get that score. But we also have a 20-minute interview. And really the goal of that is to just get to know you, get to know your goals for the program, make sure that you're a good fit for not only what we're looking for, but we check your boxes as well, because that's just as important. So you'll work with your admissions representative. They'll get you an admissions decision, say that you're admitted to the program. You're like, yes, I'm good. I want to move forward. I really want to do this thing. You'll submit a $99 deposit. That's the only upfront cost for our program. We do also have scholarships for students, which I'll talk about a little bit here next when I get to tuition. But the $99 just says, yep, I am good to go. I want to move forward. I want to start the program. You'll select a start date. We do have several on our website still for the end of the year. So if you guys want to get into tech, before 2024, we have a lot of start dates still left. So you guys can check those out. And then once you get past that deposit, you'll work with our onboarding team to set everything up. So if you applied for financing, they'll make sure all your paperwork's in for that. If you, make sure all your documents are signed, make sure there is prep that students will go through about 40 hours for all of our programs that you'll work through before day 1 of class. So I definitely think you should give yourself maybe at least 3 weeks, if not a whole month before you're planning on starting to get through this entire process. But we can really get you through as quickly as you want to, but make sure you check all those boxes in a timely manner. So that's a little bit more about the admissions process. And if you decide that Flatiron School is the right next step for you, there is a cost associated with our program. It depends on which program that you pick, but software engineering is $17,900. Product design, cybersecurity, and data science are $16,900. So a little bit of a discrepancy there, but still a good chunk of money that you would be paying for the program. But I definitely think that it's worth it. You can pay everything up front if you can do that, but we do have some flexible payment options through our partner Climb. They have some installment plans that you can do, either a 12 or even a 24-month option. So that would lessen your payments a bit. We also have, oops, I went too far again. Oh, geez. There we go. We also have some different traditional loans too that Climb offers. So if you guys are interested in applying or seeing what you would qualify for, I definitely encourage you to go to their website and put your information in, because they can go through a pre-approval process and tell you kind of what you're looking at in terms of payments and the options. Again, we do want to make sure that the course is as accessible as possible. So we do offer some different scholarships. Those are listed on our website. You can also ask your admissions representative what that looks like for you as well. There is a separate application that you guys will fill out for those scholarships. So again, remind your admissions rep in your interview and they can go through those details with you guys. I think that's it. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. I just hit my mark. Great. So now that you kind of have an overview of the program, how it works, the different things that we offer, I would love to open up the floor for any additional questions that you might have. Like I said, we do have our alumni here too, Aiden and Andrew, and I might kick the Q&A with them, kind of giving a little bit of an overview of them, what they're doing now, maybe a little bit of their experience in the program. And then we also have, like I said, our career services, our employer partnership team, some of our campus people. So really anybody that you guys might have questions for, please drop those in the chat and we'll definitely answer those for you. So Andrew, I would love for you to kick it off and kind of share a little bit about you, kind of how you got to coming to Flatiron School and taking our program and kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hey everybody, my name is Andrew. I was in the 2020 cohort for software engineering, full stack development. Before starting Flatiron, I was in construction. I was a foreman for a construction company. No college experience. I started when I started Flatiron, I was 29 years old. There was a lot of apprehension when I was first coming on. Changing a career with a drastic change to from construction to software. It was a big step, but I'm glad I did it. Yeah, and just going through the program. Just echoing what Alyssa said. There's a lot of support there. There's a lot of alumni out there who's willing to help and to give advice. I'm one of them. So there's a lot of resources. That's one reason why I picked Flatiron. There's a lot of resources out there. But yeah, and then graduating Flatiron in October 2020, I landed my first interview and job by December, and started that following January, and I've been there ever since.
Love that, Andrew. And did you do the full-time program or did you do the part-time program?
I did the full-time program.
Okay, great. Love that. Great. Love that. And you said you graduated when, and then you got your job by when? How many months did it take you?
I graduated in October, and then I signed my employment agreement in December, and I
Okay.
officially started in January. So it was
Great.
about
So it took you a couple months then to get a
yeah, I
job.
did. Mhm.
Okay, great. Perfect. And I don't know if Lindsay mentioned this, but that you do have your career coach for 180 days, or about 6 months after graduation. So our goal is to hopefully help all of our students find something within that 6 months. And if you're really doing the things that I think your career coaches are asking you to, and I think Lindsay could probably attest to this, like I think that 6 month timeline is pretty realistic for finding a job after the course is done.
Yep, exactly right, Alyssa. 180 days of support, and that is our goal, is to help get you placed by the end of that time.
Yes, awesome. And then I think there is a question for you, Andrew. Randy asked, any challenges during your employment journey?
What's your criteria for finding your match?
And yes, and what's your criteria for finding the employment match?
Yeah, yeah, I would say there are quite a few challenges, because once you finish the program, there's still a lot to get ready and prepare yourself for when going into looking for jobs, like getting your GitHub, LinkedIn resume set up. I set up a website to show off all my skills and all my projects I've done in Flatiron. Uh and it's just consistency too, just constantly reaching out to people, constantly applying to jobs every day. I added 10 people every day on LinkedIn, and I sent out applications first thing in the morning and reached out to everybody that I could. But yeah, that's really that was really most difficult.
Love that. Awesome. And I'll let Aiden share a little bit about his journey before we get into a couple more questions. But Aiden, you want to share a little bit about you?
So I started about this time last year. Graduated, I believe, late January, maybe early February. I was in sales before. I was doing sales, tech support for a little bit, but I didn't have any coding background. I literally didn't know anything about it. I knew how to fix a computer. I knew how to do all that, but I had a kind of a window where my wife was graduating from school, found a job where I could stop working. I had been going to school full time, but I was about to transition from community college to a 4-year, and the price tag kind of shocked me a little bit. I'm like, oh, I have to do this for 6 years because I wanted to be a physical therapist. I needed a doctorate. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of money to spend, and without having money coming in. And at the time, one of my coworkers had just gotten a job as a software engineer, making triple what I had already what I was making at the time. I was like, that seems awesome. But I'm not the kind of person who can kind of learn things on his own, I guess. I need somebody to or I need like a group of people to kind of hold me accountable. And that's what I found in the live, cohorts with Flatiron. I was definitely looking at a bunch of different coding boot camps, but I saw Flatiron kind of differentiates itself with the career coaching after. And by the time I had gotten around to it, it was awesome. I was paired up with Karen. She was absolutely delightful. She really helped me out. She helped me fix my resume. And something I'm not sure if we went over this, but something that you go through during your time with Flatiron before you even graduate, you do little career workshops. So you work on your resume, you work on your LinkedIn. So I had started with maybe like 50 LinkedIn connections. And by the time I graduated, I had like 400, 500. And they were like people that I had actually like spent time and like introduced myself with. So that really helped. One of the connections I made was somebody at Flatiron School. He was a technical coach. And I reached out to him being like, hey, do you think I could be a technical coach with Flatiron? He's like, yeah, I think you'd be awesome at it. So I applied, I got a role as a technical coach. And just recently now I moved to the onboarding team. So if you guys do enroll, you have a chance of talking to me and me being your onboarding rep. Yeah, and we're doing a little hybrid role where I might be helping or doing some workshops, still teaching. So found my passion with that. I'm going to keep doing that. I didn't know if I'd like coding, but I ended up loving it. It's not just the work, but it's also the work-life balance, because I couldn't really get a job where I would be going to in person. I had an old sick dog at the time who unfortunately isn't with us anymore, but now I have 2 doggies. So I get to work from home. It's awesome. Can go to the bathroom when I want to go to the bathroom. I don't know, just a lot of benefits. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Love that. Awesome. I did see a question from Karen, which we'll answer, but I think Randy also had a couple questions for you, Aiden. It said challenges during employment journey and criteria for finding employment match.
Yeah, criteria. I'll start with that. Criteria was I wanted a remote job. And I wanted to, kind of just start getting experience. So I wasn't like similar to what Andrew said. I didn't have a college degree, and I don't think I had as impressive as being a foreman. That's a pretty impressive role. So I didn't have anything like that on my resume. So I wanted to just get a role. So I was looking for internships. I was looking for apprenticeships. Those are all options as well, because they're still paid. And so, yeah, I think I definitely wasn't very picky. Challenges, like at the time when I graduated, it was back when there was like a bunch of tech layoffs. So you had some competition that may have been overqualified for roles that I was applying to, but they didn't have said connections that I might have made. So I think it's very important to look at connections as well. That's what ultimately got me my first role, and now in my second role, I got that through a connection I made as well.
Love that. Awesome. And I don't know, Lindsay, if you can shed some light on this, but kind of the average that we're seeing now, obviously, the tech layoffs that have happened is an elephant in the room. Like, we're dealing with that on a daily basis. Are you guys seeing that that's affecting students now coming out of the program? And if there are some challenges, how are you guys kind of addressing that? Maybe Beanie, you can kind of speak to that as well, whoever wants to take that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Alyssa. So we are seeing that job searches are taking a little longer, and we continue to work our strategies, which are kind of what Aiden was just talking about. That networking is one of the, and has always been one of the highest yielding conversion rates from opportunity to getting interviews and getting offers. Heard a statistic yesterday that only 2% of those who solely apply have success in receiving an offer. And if you have just cruised around on job postings on, say, like LinkedIn recently, you can see that there are hundreds and sometimes more than 1,000 people applying to a job. So you think about your competition success rate, sort of ask yourself, what game do you want to play, right? Is it the one where you want to compete with 1,000 applicants, or the one where you're networking and building relationships with people to what we call tap into the hidden job market. And that's where you're going to network into opportunities with people that know of opportunities that haven't been posted yet. Or oftentimes they might create an opportunity because you're exactly the type of person that they want to bring on board. And so your career coach is going to support you with, how do you go about networking? How do you build your network? How do you use this tool called LinkedIn? What does that look like? And so we really walk with you through that process and help you with building those skills. We're your co-pilot, if you will, helping you navigate that territory and helping you figure out, okay, maybe you want to turn left here or turn right there, or just keep going straight. And through that process, we find that students have a higher success rate than just solely applying alone.
Yeah. And Alyssa, do you want me to weigh in from?
Yeah, I would love that, Beanie. Thank you.
Great. I would echo everything that Lindsay just said, having come from the career coaching world. I'd also encourage people to be open-minded and creative, just as we all have to be in these ever-changing markets. You know, I was a career coach during the pandemic, and now sitting on the employer partnerships team, one of the ways we've become creative is we have an event 4 times a year called Career Week. And it is a networking event. And our employer partners love it because even if they're not currently hiring, it gives them the opportunity to meet one-on-one and in large group settings with job-seeking grads, so that when they are hiring, those relationships are already underway. So I want to echo what everyone is saying, is that cultivating relationships is so crucial in your job search, and starting that while you're in the program and then continuing that working with your coach. And employer partnerships also has opportunities to cultivate those connections and those relationships.
Yes, you know, the old adage, like, it's not what you know, but who you know. And we will get you both, right? We'll get you the what you know, and we'll get you the who you know, hopefully as quickly as possible, which is great. I saw a couple of questions in here about, what if I don't have any experience, or what if I don't know which option I want to go with? Obviously, we have 4 really great programs. We do have free, or the prep that I mentioned is free online to our students already. So if you're toggling between the two, I think that's the best way to figure out if you will like whichever option you're going with. It's due before class starts. So if you're thinking, okay, I think I want to try software engineering, try the prep. See if it's for you. See if you like it. You know, start networking, asking people, hey, software engineer, you know, what do you do in your day to day? What does that look like? You know, will I like that? You know, do you like problem solving? Do you like being more creative? Do you like more structure? Like, what is it that intrigues you about tech? And, you know, where's a good place to get started? So I think those free prep courses are definitely a great option for you guys. If you're toggling between the two, or if you're like, ooh, I have no experience, I don't know if I'm gonna even like coding, great way to get your feet wet. And Andrew might have some opinions too, since you were saying you didn't really have any experience coming into the program too.
Yeah. Before starting the program, actually, my girlfriend at the time, she was actually a software engineer as well. So she kind of got me into the field and got me onto these free apps to learn how to, like, Python and to learn HTML and CSS and all this other stuff to put together. And that kind of really got me on my start and to know which direction I really want to go to, just playing around with the different fields.
Great. Love that. There is a lot of free stuff online right now too. But I think a lot of students sometimes get stuck and they're like, there's so many free options. Like, I don't know, you know, what should I learn? Should I learn Python? Should I learn Java, which is like totally different than JavaScript? Who knew? Like, I didn't going before I worked at Flatiron School, right? Like, they're very different functionalities and very different structures. And so like I said, the prep is really good if you guys are interested in getting started. You don't have to have any experience coming into any of our programs, I would say, except for data science, because it is very math heavy and very upper level math heavy. If you don't like math, I definitely discourage you from data science. But any of our other programs are very beginner friendly. The prep is really to help you guys know everything you need to prior to day one of class. You can slowly work through it too. And if you're feeling like there's gaps in there that you're not understanding, use that as a tool to go back online and find some of those free resources to help upskill before you jump into the full program for sure. I feel like we're answering some questions as we go. I don't know if I missed any here, but somebody did mention about scholarships. You know, we do encourage all of our students to apply for scholarships. If there's one that you are particularly interested in, definitely talk to your admissions representative. We want to make the course as accessible as possible. So definitely check those out. I do think too, let me see. There was something about product design that I saw back in the chat that maybe Lindsay can speak to. Somebody said something about product design maybe being an outlier in some of the statistics within the jobs report. Our product design program, let me back up. We used to have an in-person product design course back before COVID hit. And because we obviously could not be in person as much at Flatiron School, we had to pivot. So we kind of restructured our whole product design offering to make it so that it was offered online as well as live. And so that data is not as historic because the program is different. We have had product design at Flatiron School for quite a while, but this new program is different. So we don't have as much historic data. I think it started in around 2020. Am I correct, Lindsay, with the new product design? So that could be some of the kind of outliers for that.
Yeah, the first class from the new curriculum graduated in 2022, which means their outcomes will be reported likely in the spring with our 2023 jobs report. So like what you're saying, Alyssa, we don't have the most up-to-date results from our new program.
Yes, but you know, it is a really great program. I really do believe in all of our programs. I'm not just biased because I work here, but half of my family is in tech. I have a sister who is a senior developer at MyFitnessPal. My brother works in IT technical support. My husband's in cybersecurity. He's a cybersecurity consultant. My mom works in development. So basically everybody around me is in tech, and I've shared a lot of the information about Flatiron School with my family, and they're like, yeah, this is some good stuff that you're learning. So hopefully that's encouraging to all of you. Let's see, did I miss some other ones? Talked about hardware requirements. Definitely check that out. We have the computer requirements listed. So
I dropped it in the chat, Alyssa.
oh, thank you. Perfect. The only thing to consider is for cybersecurity, Macs will not work for a cybersecurity program. So if you're interested in cybersecurity, Macs are not compatible. So you definitely need to have like a PC, laptop, Windows, Linux computer, something to that sort. So just be aware of that. But Macs will work for most other programs. Oh, perfect. This is a great question. Somebody asked, is there like a mechanism for accountability outside of class, I think, to like.
Yeah, Alyssa, I dropped in an answer to
Oh,
that.
perfect.
I was just talking
Perfect.
about the student advising team and how they're available to meet with you regularly. If that's something that you want to take advantage of, they would love to chat.
Perfect. Yes. And I think that's I know Aiden and Andrew both did the full-time program, and I think some people think they're not going to get the same experience if they do the part-time program. I definitely don't think that that's the case. I mean, you do have to be a lot more self-motivated to get through the material, but we do try to provide as much support as possible. You do have your student advisor. They're going to be checking in on you on a regular basis to make sure you have everything that you need, but you also have accountability with your instructors. things like that. So there is some different pieces that we have put in place to hopefully get you through as quickly as possible. You're also not limited to the 40 weeks. So say maybe you're only working part-time or on nights and weekends, and you can really dive full force into the program, but you want to kind of give yourself that flexibility if you do need to work more hours, or if your schedule's kind of volatile and changing all the time. The flexible program is still a great option for students.
Can I add something to that too?
Yeah, absolutely, Eden.
But yeah, so flex students as well, they're given like target labs and a pacing guide. So you'll see a lab with the lab's name, and you want to get to it by this date. And if you're not getting to that, usually your instructor is reaching out to you and asking you what's going on.
Love that. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Yes. Love that. Great. It looks like we're almost at time here. So I do want to kind of wrap up. If you guys have more questions, definitely. Oh, one last question, Karen. Go for it. See how fast you can type. That's what we're grading you on, is, are you a quick typist? Just
No
kidding.
pressure.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Do we have international partnerships? That's a really great question, because we do have some international students. I did see somebody post that in the Q&A. We do enroll students in specific regions, like almost every state in the United States we can enroll students in, some international, like Canada, different countries. But there are some places that we do not enroll students. So you'll get some more information from your admissions representative if you apply and maybe you're not in one of those regions. The free prep is a great option. We are trying to add more areas that we can enroll in. So maybe, hopefully we'll expand some of that. There is some kind of stricter regulations in certain areas. So we do want to try to make, again, as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. But Lindsay, maybe you can share a little bit more about like international partnerships, what that looks like.
Yeah, so we focus primarily on our US employers who often have footprints globally. So there would be opportunity to talk with them about those opportunities. But the ones that we typically post and share with our alumni are for US based opportunities. That said, your career coach can work with you on the same tried and true strategies and opportunities to help you network into opportunities in other countries. They may be less versed in some of the, the norms in those countries, but you could still work with a coach on building your resume and your LinkedIn profile and things like that. But the partnerships that we tend to focus on are usually US based.
Yes. And like Lindsay said before, you as a student are in the driver's seat. So all those techniques that we're teaching you guys for your job search can kind of translate into that world as well. So it's really up to like the kind of jobs that you want to apply for. I did see a couple more last questions that popped in. Randy, I don't know if we're going to have time for your question, but somebody asked about wanting to design and build a website. I definitely would encourage you to do the full stack program. Although product design is really good to understand like the visual components, and you can kind of create mock-ups, different things like that. You're not going to learn how to technically build a website or application, and maybe Aiden and Andrew can speak a little bit more to that, but probably the full stack program would be more helpful for you in that space. But yeah, Aiden, I think we'll try. We might go over a little bit, but Randy asked if you guys had any insight to data science or cybersecurity in that field. I don't know if either of you have experience, can speak to that.
Well, so yeah, data, I guess the question, like, kind of insight is like, what kind of insight? But yeah, data science is you're taking a lot of data, or say you're going to a company and you're taking their data, and then you're giving them an answer based on how you manipulated said data to say like, oh, this product will sell the best if you're selling it here. You're trying to find answers based on whatever data you're given, and you're building applications that can manipulate said data. And then cybersecurity is I think it's pretty flexible as well. I think cybersecurity is awesome. And it's cooler because I think we don't talk a lot about what goes into cybersecurity, because you don't want everybody to know what you're doing for cybersecurity. But you're building systems that prevent hackers from getting into stuff that you want to keep hackers out of. But yeah, vague knowledge and understanding. Yeah, ethical hack.
Andrew, you want anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, Aiden hit it pretty right on the head with that one. I don't have much experience in those fields. I mean, with my current job, we do get into a little bit of both of those where we have to sanitize our data as it come in, and there's certain things that we need to make sure that we do to protect our users' data and our systems. And at the same time, like I also do help with SQL, help hooking up Looker to get certain metrics for the data that we have on our clients and stuff like that. But like as far as like, specifically those roles, like I don't have a lot to share on that.
I would definitely say that software engineering is a really good base if you guys are new to tech, because you can always get into like, say, cyber or data science down the road as well. I feel like you're kind of tangent to those things in software development. Is that kind of what you're sharing, Andrew? That, if you want to go and get more certifications to get into cybersecurity, you definitely could, or, learn a bit deeper in Python or some of those things if you really decided you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strong base to start, and like you said, it touches just about on just about everything, or at least adjacent to.
Great. Love that. Perfect. Well, definitely want to make sure that you guys stay in touch with us. Hopefully this gave you guys a lot of good insight, got a lot of your questions answered. If you still have more questions that didn't get answered, that I maybe missed in the chat, you can always email admissions@flatironschool.com. You can also connect with us via chat, where you could schedule a 10-minute chat with our admissions representatives. They can answer a lot more questions as well. You can always apply to, and during your interview, you can ask a lot more pointed questions to your admissions representative. Or if you're still like on the fence on different programs that you want to do, we do have program-specific events that we often do with product design, software engineering, data science. We just did a bunch with like a combo of like cybersecurity and software engineering and product design and software engineering. So a lot of good events on our YouTube page. Definitely encourage you guys to check it out. There's like an virtual event playlist. So you've got several hours that you want to dedicate to listening and watching events for Flatiron School, I definitely encourage you to do that. But I really appreciate you guys spending your afternoon with me. Thank you to all of our guests that join. Aiden and Andrew, thank you guys. Lindsay, Yesenia, Chelsea. I know Beanie had to hop, but definitely thank you guys for joining us, and check out the recording when it's posted in a few days if you guys need to review anything. Thanks, guys.